Potani mawethu sisajonge kunyulo lomasipala. Good afternoon. This is the daily service delivery gauge on the SABC News channel as well as SABC One. Thanks for joining us. Igama lam Griselda Lewis siyavuya ukubanani. Our sign language interpreter this afternoon, Fortune Mahlala.
Sinbingele sinamkele South Africa. Igama lami ngumxolisi wakwamasango. Now remember, this is your show, and if you want to be a part of the conversations on the show, interact with us on our social media platforms. You can tweet us on @SABC News using hashtag SDGageDaily and hashtag SABC News. You can also send us your WhatsApp voice notes and video clips to 083 272 8341. And today's question is, are clean audits an appropriate metric to measure the effectiveness of a municipality? Let's get the program started.
Thank you very much, Mxolisi. This is where we start. Effective financial management within local authorities is sorely lacking, going by the findings of the Auditor General. So the AG's report on the 2019-2020 municipal audit outcomes shows that only 27 municipalities out of 257 countrywide have received a clean audit. So the small Senqu municipality, that's in the Eastern Cape, is just one of those 27. It has received clean audits for the past 7 consecutive years. Fundiswa Mhlagude travelled to Sterkspruit and filed this report. Let's take a look.
The Senqu municipality borders the Free State and Lesotho. It has a population of more than 140,000 people living in 17 wards. It is rural South Africa, and a large number of the people who live here depend on social grant. Agriculture is the main economic activity in this area. The Senqu municipality attributes its clean audit outcomes to political and administrative stability and ethical leadership that ensures strong proactive financial systems that identifies wrongdoing quickly.
We have created an institution that is stable financially. We have ensured that there is stability in terms of management. As I've mentioned before, the current MM has been here for more than 20 years, which that on itself have brought stability in the administration, because systems you build them over a period of time. The current CFO has been with us in the office of the BTO for quite some time, also before he ascended to be the CFO. In the council, you've got councillors who have been here as councillors for more than 20 years also. Some of them were here at the establishment of local government, and so they've been here with us. So we're then able to tap into that experience.
While the books balance, residents say it does not translate into effective service delivery.
Into esiyikhalazelayo kakhulu zinkonzo zezindlu. Inkonzo zezindlu sasithenjisiwe ukuthi kunebala elizawuvulwa.
Our main concern is the provision of houses. We were promised that houses will be built for us. They even told us they will give us a site where people can even build themselves some houses. That has not happened. Even people from Bisho came and showed us a plan saying they will forward it to the municipal council. But till now, we are still waiting. That has not been fulfilled.
We
don't have any service.
We don't have any services here in Senqu, more especially when it comes to housing provision. Our needs as residents of Maxeba is mainly water. There is a village called Ndulini there. There is no water at all. We get water from the rivers. Even RDP houses have not been provided at Maxeba.
The municipality acknowledges there are backlogs with the provision of certain services. The authorities say problems related to water provision is hampered by decaying water and sanitation infrastructure.
If the municipality can have a plan, a sustainable plan for supplying water throughout the district, throughout the Senqu local municipality, I think our people can be happy. Then on the issue of electricity, I think our people do not have stress because, as I have said, that each and every ward has got electricity. It's just that there are few villages that do not have electricity and they are on the plan for this financial year.
We're not doing everything that is expected of us because of lack of resources. But we're doing our best within the limited means that we have. So yes, there are gaps in terms of what we want to do and what we're actually doing. But our intention is to ensure that we render services to everyone. But the issue is limited resources that we don't have.
The residents of Senqu will head to the polls within a few weeks. It might bring about change in council. But the current leadership aims to maintain their clean audit track record. Fundiswa Mhleko, the SABC News, Eastern Cape.
From that, we zoom into the Midvaal local municipality, which is one of the best performing municipalities in the country. This municipality, which is based within the Sedibeng district municipality, has had clean audits for 7 consecutive years since 2013. This Democratic Alliance-led municipality with the young mayor Bongani Baloyi prides itself for good governance and being able to put their residents' needs first. Our senior producer, Uhlelo Mqhuqho, visited the municipality and filed this report.
Welcome to Meyerton, a suburb within the Midvaal municipality. This is Ryan Harding, a resident and a businessman in the area. He has lived here for most of his life.
Like I said, I'm here all my life in Meyerton, and I travel quite a bit all over the places collecting vehicles as far as Cape Town, and you see the conditions of our roads and the infrastructure around Meyerton compared to other smaller cities and so on. You can't compare these two to each other, I mean, in Midvaal you hardly see any potholes, and if there's a pothole, it's being fixed and sorted immediately. It's not like you have to wait months to get things repaired. If you heard about cities, but cities not far from us, that the people don't have water for 5-6 days.
He says the municipality always delivers quality services.
I never experienced any problems here without being with water or electricity. So we always had electricity, except when it's load shedding, because load shedding is all over South Africa. But I think we have very, very good service deliveries. If there's a problem, not long ago there was a strike, and even if there was a strike, the rubbish and stuff was still collected and the work was still being done.
Julia Ramogoloi, who is an accountant and also lives in the area, she also echoes Harding's sentiments.
Even though I'm saying I lived here since forever, but I also lived in the other municipality, so I can see the difference. The service delivery here is much better. And again, what I've realized is it's not only the municipality that is doing the job, it's a collective effort from the community.
We then spoke to the MMC for Community Services, Peter Texera, who says that even though the municipality can sometimes be overwhelmed with the number of people coming to live in the area, they still try to provide quality services. He also mentioned that all residents are treated equally.
We're just getting the basics right. We're doing what government is supposed to be doing, and that is delivering services and good governance to our people. In terms of your basic service delivery, yes, Stelo is receiving it as much as the Meyerton section of the municipality. Yes, there are certain areas where we have not reached out to, because remember, it is a developing area, it's a growing area, and we are seeing a huge influx of people that are coming into your Stelo area coming to live in. So we are trying to keep up in terms of service delivery, but I can assure you that in terms of the basic service delivery, like your roads, your water, sanitation, as well as electricity, we are providing to our people.
Not everyone in Midvaal shares the same sentiments, though. At Swatkopi's farm, 67-year-old Pindile Chabalala holds a totally different view. She has been living in the area since 1989.
Izindlu, ikliniki, ugesi unokusihlupha kakhulu, amanzi. Angekhe ngivume ukuthi wenza kakuhle umasipala weMidvaal ngoba akakasenzeli lutho thina kule ndawo.
Even though disparities are evident within the municipality, it has achieved clean audits for 7 consecutive years. For SABC News, I am Hlela Mqhuqho in the Midvaal.
Fantastic work by the SABC's Hlela. Thanks indeed. So those were 2 municipalities leading the way in financial management. Let's unpack that now with SABC News specialist researcher Amil Amro. Very good afternoon to you, Amil. Thanks indeed for joining us. First of all, take us through the types of audits that there is. So let's take a look at some of the graphics that you've managed to put together for us. Yeah.
Sure. Well, Griselda, if we look at the type of audit opinions that are handed down to municipalities by the Auditor General on an annual basis, the best case scenario, of course, is your clean audit outcome. And this is where there are no material misrepresentations, material misstatements, there's no findings, and there's general compliance or complete compliance with legislation.
Yeah.
Then we go into the financially unqualified audit opinions. And some people tend to mix this up with qualified and unqualified, but basically what an unqualified audit opinion means is that while there are no misstatements and material findings, what tends to happen is the Auditor General might make some sort of finding or statement on the report in general, how you've reported it, and whether you're complying to legislation, and may possibly make some recommendations to help you better those results.
Yeah.
Now, with the qualified audit opinion, and this is where things start to get a bit iffy, the qualified audit opinion basically is that there are material findings and material misstatements, however, on very specific figures. So these figures can be easily identified and can be corrected as it goes along. Then the adverse audit opinion is where, while there aren't any misstatements on specific amounts, a lot or a decent size of or a large proportion of that report or your financial statements are misstated. So they can't exactly hone in on specific figures because the report in general is misstated. And then, of course, your disclaimer of audit opinion, which is your worst finding, and that's where there is no evidence or not enough evidence, documentation or finances for the auditor to even make a finding or give an opinion. So let's move on and let's see what the Auditor General found in the 2019-2020
Is this where more than a quarter of the municipalities are in financial constraints?
Yeah, and I mean, if you look at some of the auditor's comments from last year, it's really, really scary on the state of municipalities. So as you said, just over a quarter of municipalities are so dire that there's doubts from the Auditor General as to whether they'll be able to continue operating as a going concern in the near future. And almost half of the municipalities in the country are exhibiting indicators of financial strain, including low debt recovery, inability to pay creditors, and large deficits. Now, 22 municipalities had received disclaimed opinions, as we spoke about earlier, by June 4th. Let's move on there.
I guess some of the key findings, though, what we also heard of some of the major transgressions is this municipalities failing to follow legislation.
So the AG observed widespread non-compliance with legislation and reported material non-compliance at 86% of all our municipalities. That's a large number. And another indicator of the poor management of funds is fruitless and wasteful expenditure. And that's grown to about almost 3.5 billion rand this year. And irregular expenditure remained at 26 billion rand. You can only imagine what that type of money can do for service delivery in the country.
But I think just generally, before we wrap up, Amil, I mean, what contributes in terms of the research that you have also done to municipalities, involved in such flagrant transgression of legislation, and it doesn't seem like anything happens. It continues.
Well, let's talk about what causes this first. If we look back at the Auditor General's report, you'll find that there's a large number of vacancies in a lot of municipalities, especially in those finance departments. And then what then happens is that municipalities hire consultants. And those consultants are found not to do the job, but a lot of money is being spent on consultants. So there are a number of issues which contribute to these misstatements. And the Auditor General, in his recent report, is basically begging government for some sort of change. And he says that in my previous report, I've I've listed all these changes we need to make, but nobody's complying to them. It's fallen on deaf ears with the exact words that he's used.
Simply seems that implementation seems to be a great problem. While we know what the challenges are, measures to rectify them are simply not being taken and implemented. Thank you very much indeed for your time. We speak now, of course, to SABC News specialist researcher Emil Amro, who's been joining us, of course, to unpack those municipal audits and what that translates to in terms of citizens. All right, we'll continue to take a look at that in Kolisi in just a short while. We'll also be taking your calls in just a moment to hear from you. Don't forget, if you'd love to get in touch with us on all our social media pages, we're also there, of course. We're asking you today whether those clean audits are a good way or the appropriate metric to measure the effectiveness of a municipality. So, of course, we'll be taking some of your tweets. You can see some of them actually running at the bottom of our screen there. And just very shortly, we'll be taking some of those calls. Are we ready with our team inside? All right, Mkolisi.
Well, Chrisella, we are standing by to speak to some of our viewers today. Ompimetse Tekiso joins us from Vryburg. Very good afternoon, Ompimetse. What's your comment for us this afternoon?
Hello.
Hi, Ompimetse. Good afternoon. You are live on the daily service delivery gauge. What's your comment for us today?
My comment, I can hear that you're talking about clean audit. So to me, as a layman on the street, it doesn't say anything to me because we believe in a concrete thing. Like the audit can be clean, but if I see lots of potholes and shady roads and no water, then to me, as a person on the street, it doesn't give me any meaning. We want to see things happening concretely on the ground.
And of course, you're echoing sentiments there that are shared by many people at the, of course, community level. Thank you so much, Ompimetse. Now, Griselda, you're standing by with another caller for us.
Yes, absolutely. We've got Gerald Vasachi, who's from the Salt Lake municipality. Gerald, very good afternoon to you. Thanks indeed for joining us. Your comment this afternoon.
Thank you very much for that. For me, a clean audit is not sufficient because in Salt Lake there was never a clean audit actually. They couldn't answer to all the irregular expenditures that they had in the Salt Lake municipality. If you can see the potholes that are here, the dams, the sewage running on the one side and the clean water on the other side with shacks in the middle. It's like a wetland and then they still put people there. Now the other day, a person died in a deep hole, a trench that Salt Lake or the contractors dug, and they couldn't even save him. You understand?
Yeah.
And the Premier had a 500 million that was put forward for infrastructure, renewals and everything. But he can't tell us what happened to the 500 million.
That seems to be a great concern. Thank you very much, Gerald. From many communities talking about monies that are being ploughed into these municipalities, and there's been absolutely no changes taking place for the betterment of the people there. Mkolisi, you've got someone else?
Absolutely,
from Maluti
Griselda.
Yes.
Now, Ungareng Muloy is from Maluti Apufong local municipality. Good afternoon, Ungareng. You are live on the daily service delivery gauge. What's your comment for us today?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you.
Yeah, thank you very much. In Maluti Apufong, I don't think it's relevant for us to talk about service delivery because they are delivering no services. Since the formation of the municipality, it was 21 years ago, they have never received a clean audit. That means the money that is budgeted for is not used for what it was budgeted for. So they are misusing the funds of us as residents of Maluti Apufong for their personal gain or their political gain instead of servicing us. That is why now, even now, when we're speaking now, a lot of people cannot watch this interview because there is no electricity.
Wow, quite concerning there. And thank you so much, Nkareng, for your call there on the daily service delivery gauge. Griselda, we're standing by with some interaction.
Absolutely. We've got some of the community members who've also sent us some videos. Let's take a look at that before we take a look at some of your tweets. All right, we'll get back to that. Let's take a look at some of the tweets that have come through. We're hoping that we'll be able to come up on our screens here. Thank you very much to you who've gotten in touch with us this afternoon. Keith Peacock says clean audits are but one indicator of the state of a council. They are very important, but only a part of the fight for efficient, cost-effective, relevant participation service delivery. Thank you very much, Keith, for getting in touch with us on the show.
So we pick up Mzwandile. He says it is alleged that the Merafong acting manager employed 46 people from outside without advertising the posts and excluded Merafong youth and people living with disabilities.
Allegations of jobs for pals there. Rock Yellow Nation says, what's the point of bragging about clean audits when there is no service delivery? Says Rock Yellow Nation. Thanks indeed for getting in touch with us on the program.
Now, Melikaya says no. There are a report confirming compliance to financial management acts and policies in utilizing of approved budgets for prioritized initiatives.
All right, Philip says to us, it tells you of a municipality that is afraid to spend money on service delivery. Is that our last one? No, that's not.
Oh, of course, we have Osheli says, yes, I was much worried about the whole country. Only Western Cape have clean audits from the Auditor General. The rest is a mess. What's wrong with our leadership? Dirty city of Joburg, CBD, Durban, CBD. You won't like the stinking smell of pee every corner. Cape Town is the best, clean, smart.
And I guess it's the battle of municipalities and how they've been able to service communities in the areas in which they serve, because the problems are not new. The challenges are almost the same across the board. People are complaining about potholes, the calls that we just heard about. Let's actually take a look at some of the videos that have come through. Success this time.
Yeah. All right, some gremlins there. We'll try again tomorrow. But of course, we see your interaction and we thank you so much for your interaction. That brings us to the end of the Tuesday edition of the Daily Service Delivery Gauge. We're back again with you tomorrow.
Absolutely. See you at 16:30 until 1700 hours. Bye-bye.
Cheers.